Today we'll be covering Chapter 3 in series of Master Class in Clinical Embryology, which is folliculogenesis. Folliculogenesis is the fascinating process by which ovarian follicles develop from their earliest primordial stage all the way to a mature, ovulative follicle. Folliculogenesis is defined as the maturation of the ovarian follicle, beginning from the primordial follicle stage to the preovulatory Graafian follicle. This process ensures that a healthy, competent oocyte is released for fertilization. Importantly, only a few follicles reach maturity, while the majority undergo atresia. The primordial follicle is the earliest form. It consists of a small primary oocyte surrounded by a single layer of flat, squamous granulosa cells. These follicles form during fetal life, and a female is born with around 1 to 2 million, but only 300 to 400 will ever ovulate in her lifetime. The rest undergo atresia. Primordial follicles are kept in a dormant pool, ready for recruitment after puberty. After puberty, the recruitment of follicles is a continuous process. It is regulated by FSH and intraovarian growth factors. At each cycle, a small group of primordial follicles is selected to enter the growing pool. As you can see in this diagram, these recruited follicles start their journey toward maturity. In the primary follicle, granulosa cells become cuboidal instead of flat, and the zona pellucida, a glycoprotein coat around the oocyte, starts forming. At this stage, the follicle becomes gonadotropin-independent, meaning it develops under local ovarian factors, not follicle-stimulating hormone yet. It's a critical stage where oocyte growth begins and communication between the oocyte and granulosa cells strengthens. The secondary follicle is bigger, with multiple layers of granulosa cells as you can see in figure. Now, we see the development of the theca layer around the follicle, which later divides into theca interna and externa. This is when blood vessels begin to supply the follicle indirectly via the theca layer, an important step for later hormone production. Remember, it's still not FSH dependent, but nearing that transition. In the tertiary stage, small fluid-filled spaces form and merge to create the antrum. The follicle becomes hormonally active, producing estrogen. From this group, usually one dominant follicle is selected to continue growing, while the others undergo atresia. At this stage, usually one follicle is selected as the dominant follicle because it is more sensitive to FSH. It produces the highest levels of estrogen and inhibin, which in turn suppress FSH, causing the other growing follicles to undergo atresia. This ensures that only the healthiest follicle continues to develop toward ovulation. The Graafian follicle is the fully mature follicle. It has a large fluid-filled antrum, a well-developed theca, and granulosa layers. The oocyte is now surrounded by the cumulus oophoris, which will accompany it at ovulation. This follicle is highly estrogenic, and rising estrogen levels eventually trigger the luteinizing hormone surge, which induces ovulation. Ovulation is the key event where the mature Graafian follicle ruptures and releases the oocyte. It usually happens around day 14 of a 28-day cycle. The trigger is a sharp surge in LH, which weakens the follicular wall and increases prostaglandins and enzymes like collagenase. These changes help rupture the follicle. The oocyte that is released is actually a secondary oocyte, arrested in metaphase 2 of meiosis. Along with it, the cumulus oophoris cells are also released, which support fertilization. Understanding folliculogenesis is critical in clinical practice. In infertility treatments, we manipulate this process with gonadotropins during ovarian stimulation. Disorders like PCOS represent dysregulation of folliculogenesis. AMH levels reflect the pool of small growing follicles and help us assess ovarian reserve. So, this is not just a theoretical concept, it's the backbone of reproductive medicine. Thank you for watching. If you found this video helpful, please like and subscribe for more educational content. If you want more videos on specific topics in obstetrics and gynecology, reproductive medicine and surgery, embryology or gynae endoscopy or any chapter in any book, leave your suggestions in the comments. Remember, stay curious, keep learning, and take care.